Alrighty folks, want to welcome you back to another video from Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. This one will be a little bit different. This is going to be more of a training style because again, these are things that I don't hear really people talking about. Nowadays, you're not the first generation computer user that has to learn a lot of these type of things. These are things that you pretty much think you know, that you've been educated on, that either someone else has shown you how to use computers, have told you how to do things and shown you how to do things. You've been taught how to do some things, and a lot of the education I think is laxed or missing. A lot of the information is not gone over. As you can see from this very first slide, there's a lot of details here. There's a lot of things that are unsafe on the internet. And this is not just like I have on here, it's just not porn. Adult sites. It relates to everything nowadays. Everything can be a bad thing. There is so much that you need to watch out for and to look out for nowadays that it's quite amazing. All of these threats and risks and, all these compromised systems and all these things that are going on in the world, or ransomware, all of these type of things I'll get into in the next video. Some of these details on some of these things that will help to make your life better. First thing you really need to know is what site you are going to. How do you get to that site? Where is that link? To know when you click that link or that site, is it actually where you want to go? If you're looking for a store, you're looking for a certain electronic store, a certain clothing store, are you being sent directly to that site? Are you getting redirected? Are you, what is going on in the path and how you get there? There's a lot of legitimate sites that do things like redirections and other things that are legitimate business. But also those things can be used against you. If you know the parts of your URL, that is really a critical thing to always look at, is the URL. That is your www.blank.com.org.biz. There is so many scams and so many things going on with that to know you're in the right spot. Second thing that was brought up in one of the trainings I was actually physically watching, stop and check your URLs that you are on. And they brought up, this is an area where speed actually does hurt you, can actually kill, can actually affect your system, because you're in a rush. You're trying to get to where you're trying to get to look at what you're trying to do. You're trying to do work. You're trying to get on your banking site. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that as fast as you can. Well, you might click on something you're not supposed to click on that might send you somewhere else that you're not really supposed to be. So you always want to check what site you are actually on and where it is directing you to. And this is another one that I went over. Porn, adult sites, other things like that are not the only things that are bad on the internet anymore. Now you can go to merchant sites and try to buy something, and they're saying they're part of Sears.com, and if you check the URL, you'll tell they're not Sears. They're some other subdomain of some other business, and it's a fraudulent site. Odds are, what are they going to do if you purchase something? Are they going to steal your information? They're just going to steal your money? Will you actually get that merchandise you actually bought? You take some serious risks by using sites you don't know who they are, and if they look like a site who you think they are and you do a purchase from them, that's where the damages come in. So the next point that I went over is your stores and shoppings. Those actually have bad sites. And of course, you got your email, your text, your phone calls. All these things are linked to so many bad things. All this phishing and spam email. And one thing I don't have on there that really need to touch base, not just email, your mail, your general mail is basically the same thing as your email. Look at all the junk mail you get in the post office mail. This is the same philosophy, but worse for email, because it's so much easier and cheaper for anybody to do this. And it's really easy to mislead you by an email. Look at all these texts, phone calls you get about your car warranty. This just came across my desk, blah, 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 call me back, most of these are all scams, all frauds. Some of these are legitimate businesses that actually offer these type of services, but most of them, I bet, are scams and frauds. There's so much going on that it's not only your internet safety now, because there's so many digital forms that they can do. As digital forms where it comes to phone calls, robocalls. It's not even a real person on the phone that, hi, this is the IRS and, please give us a call back, or, it's not even a real person on the other end. It's just a recording that's calling all these numbers to try to get responses. The other really big one that kind of goes with that is if you have a site that use the bookmark always. Use the site the link is good. If you get an email, get a text, get anything on your phone, and you do this stuff at home and your accounts on your home computer, all those type of things, go home, use that computer, use that link that is actually where you've checked the URL, and make sure that that's a verified good site. Don't click on anything anybody sends you. The other thing that they've been having problems with are those little, I can't think of what they're called, where you scan them, scan bars, any of those type of devices now. They've figured out how to fraud and cheat you by putting a fraudulent one on there that will take you to a different site that basically redirects you to another site that they can do malicious and harmful things to your computer, your phone, whatever you have. So these are things that I wanted to go through, because a lot of this stuff, when the internet came out, a lot of this stuff didn't exist. This all exists. It's being used on I wouldn't even say a daily basis, on a minute by minute or second by second basis. So this is what this training video I wanted to put out there is to, because there's not a lot of people actually talking about this information right now. Let me change the slide here. Understanding email. What is an email? What is mail? Are they the same? Is email safe? Is email safer than mail? I bet you think you know all this information already. There's a lot of surprising facts that you go through when you start researching this, and security and other safety features and other things. You'll find email is a letter from somebody or someplace you may or may not know. That's the main factor. You get an email, text, I'm going to throw into this too, because they can look like you think you know who they're coming from. You don't know truly who that comes from. It might just be mail that's very unsafe to open. They have all kinds of stuff they attach in emails, bad links, all kinds of stuff. I have another video coming up that will go into some of these little details to get more information out there for you, because this is the safety of just email, just like mail. Look at all the junk mail you get. this is really the point I'm trying to express and people to understand. And text messages. This is all the same. It's just digital. You don't have the physical paper that comes in the mail. It's just something that comes up and you look at it. Should you look at it? Like junk mail. What do you do with your junk mail? You throw it away. Most of them you don't open. This is the same philosophy and stuff with mail, texts, all these other things that are going on right now that you really, really have to be careful on. So I wanted to go through and explain a lot of this because I don't hear anybody really talk about this. If you get into security and business stuff, they'll talk about making sure your employees don't open mail, making sure they don't open attachments, making sure they don't do this, they don't do that. But for people to understand the concept of why you don't do that, how that actually relates. So this is what this is about, is to go over a little bit more detail on these things. You know, website safety. Are you on a site that's safe to look at? Can you look at all sites safely? What do you have to do to be safe? These are some of the key factors that most people kind of think of, and they think, oh, I just need a virus scan, I just need this, I just need that, and I'm fine, I just need a firewall. There's a lot more variables in it. Websites are not safe at all. I wanted to bring that up. All websites can hurt your computer. Your computer can save files from every site you look at. They actually do save files from every site you look at. Cookies and temp files that users do not know about are saved, and more things are saved to your computer. So when you go look at a website, it actually pulls things from that website, like photos, templates, cookies, save logins, all these other type of things. It saves on your computer, so the next time you go back to that site, it doesn't have to look at the site to have it. It already has it. It can pull them up from your computer to load faster. Well, if you're into internet, if you're into security and internet security, there's some red flags there, because now this is actually saving files to your computer you don't want. You don't authorize these files. You did not download these files. So if you ever run a virus scan and it runs through and it says it finds something in your username, temp file, blah 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 blah, this is what it's talking about. Is it's found something in there. Now, in the old days, I've known issues with games. You buy games that don't even have anything to do with internet, and there's bugs and glitches in the actual game that affects your computer. That's known. If you research that, you'll find documentation on that. So, it can be an actual legitimate website, your bank site, anything that maybe there's a mistype coding, something that can actually affect your computer in a way that you don't want. There's a lot of vulnerabilities in software out there. There's a lot of zero-day problems in software. Again, when you get into security, you'll understand these terms, but I want to put them out there so you hear them. People aren't saying these terms. They're not relaying this. People don't know this. So this is what this is about. Simple little thing. Just go into a website. Go into your usual websites you go to. Facebook, all those type of things. YouTube, Twitter. All of these things can actually affect your system. Because you're going to other servers, other computers out there on the network, that if something's on that system or on that server is being affected, it can actually affect you. So that's really one of the concepts I wanted to bring up, that it's not your computer's a standalone thing and that's it. You can go look at whatever you want. No, all these computers actually tie in together. They all work kind of together. So here are some of the things that you can get or can happen when you go to a website. You get redirected. You can actually download a virus. You get cookies, spyware. If you run a lot of scans, some software for spyware stuff will actually tell you about the tracking cookies and all these other type of things that get put in there. That is actually considered a spyware. Bot software. That is one of the big things that basically Windows 11 is supposed to stop, is the bot. That's where something controls your computer, a virus, malware, whatever, on your computer and does other malicious stuff out on the internet without you knowing. It uses your resources, your hardware, and does everything it wants to do to affect others, to spread the bot software so that it can do what it needs to. Adware, where it just starts installing software. Adware can install bot software, can install Trojans, can install viruses. It can do a lot of stuff. And then you got the big one right now, ransomware. You go on the wrong sites, you can actually get ransomware installed. And of course you have the temp files that have all the garbage that you get from the sites. Problem with temp files too is they can fill your hard drive. So that's one of the factors I wanted to bring up, especially with new solid state drives and everything that are smaller because of the price. Everybody's buying smaller drives to get the faster speeds and all of that stuff. There's some of these things you don't want a bunch of cookies and temp files and other stuff installed in your computer taking up all the space of your computer. So these are some of those little factors. So this is basically the naming. This is actually my YouTube channel, what the slashes mean, how it's broken down. At the end, it usually has, this is the kicker. You can do a file, graphic, website, and there's more. Most of the time when you go to a website, it loads the web page file or a graphic. They can actually have it run an executable when you go to a certain website. That's how it installs certain software. So I wanted to go through that point because that's what's directly related. So understanding the UEL, what it is, how it actually does, I'll leave that up for one of the things that to watch out for. The redirect. Basically, the redirect is, odds are you've already been redirected if you're watching this video. So it does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. So if you could read that over, pause the video so you can read the definitions. Here's one of the big ones out there. And this, I've learned, is really complex, that there's lots of factors in it. The next video I'll have more, pretty much the same slide, but you think you're going to a certain website, but there's a letter change. That letter change actually directs you somewhere else. They look really similar, but you got to really look closely. That's why all of that at the beginning about looking closely at your UEL to make sure you're on the right site. This is part of that factor. And again, all you need to run through on this training is one or more of these things. So for you to get to this video, like I mentioned before, how many of these things have happened to you to get you here? Redirection. You've been redirected to get to this video because you went to YouTube. Cookies. You went to YouTube. You got the cookie. Temp files. You got the files because you went there. How did you know about this video? Did you get an email, a text, a link? If you hit subscribe, it sends you the message. So you had this happen. So, of course, are you ready for all this? I just went through it all. Most likely, you've just done all 4. Did you start on the YouTube site? Did you start from your email? Did you start from my Facebook link? Did you start from the Twitter link? If you started from your email, from Facebook, from Twitter, you were redirected. Plus, you took the link. Odds are you got the cookie and the temp file also. So, these are the little tiny things that really, they're not a bad thing. It's how the computer works with the internet. But people have used and learned how to manipulate these things so that it works better for them. So I wanted to go through all of this so everybody's aware of how all of this happens. So I think that's the end for the presentation. I will do another one on another subject, but I want to thank everybody for watching all the video slides, and I want to go back to the very first one so that people understand this is the safety of internet, not actually your browser safety, not actually email safety. This is all everything kind of lumped together. Just you going on the internet. Oh, I want to check out this site. Maybe here's the other one. TV ads. They advertise all kinds of stuff nowadays, and you go to look it up. Like I saw there was this light that has a battery in it. When the power goes out, the bottom part of the light lights up. It'll light up for 24 hours. Maybe you want to research that. Maybe you want to find out, is that really a good thing? Should we have that? Well, you know, like a lot of people live in earthquake country in California and that type of stuff, and you have wildfires that you have the winds now. They shut off everybody's power because it gets windy and they don't want the fires to start when the line falls. So maybe you need something like that. So you simply go to look that up. Well, guess what? You didn't get directed by email, text, or phone. You actually got directed by a TV ad. TV ad told you, go look at this website, go buy here. So there's a lot of places nowadays where it's not really, you're getting misled from the internet. There's a lot of information out there. But once you get onto the internet, that's when you can really get into some bad spots and be redirected and be in a lot of malicious places where you did not intend to be. So this is really what I wanted to go over. I want to thank everybody for watching another video from Yates Computers Tips and Review. I'll be having another slideshow one coming up next week after this one. But I wanted to go through some of this and really hit home some of these subjects, because again, a lot of people out there today are not first generation computer users. You're not learning for the first time. You've been doing a lot. You think you know it all. You think you've been around long enough that I'm sure some of this is new for some people. I'm sure some people are going to read some of this and see some of this and go, what is he talking about? He's crazy. And do your research, start looking this stuff up. You'll start to see There's a lot of things out there, a lot of things going on that you might want to be a little bit more cautious on. So, I'm going to wrap this one up and get ready for the next one. Thank you for watching.